Govinda. Can you bring in the internet, the little internet piece in the room? Shnubaraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyabari Paschacharasatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangulangayate Girim Yakripatamaham Bande Siguru Dinatarinam Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripashindubhya Vacha Putitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So tonight we're going to read from the 9th chapter of the Gita, text 30 and 31, and it follows a little bit from last night's class. Last night's class was about how the devotee doesn't give up no matter what problems he's facing, no matter how bad things get. He always focuses on the goal to become Krishna conscious. And this verse deals with that reality of how a devotee is fallen, sometimes falls, and then how Krishna wants us to understand that. So this is 9:30. Api chet sudarachara. Api chet sudarachara. Bhajate mam ananya bhaksharo reva samantavya. Samyak vivashtito hisa. Read the word meanings and we'll discuss the word meanings. Api, even, chet, if, su durachara, one commits the most abominable actions. Bhajate is engaged in devotional service. Mam, unto me, ananya bhak, without deviation. Sadhu, a saint, eva, certainly, saha, he, mantavya, is to be considered samyak, completely. Vyastita, situated in determination. He, certainly, saha, he. So this is interesting. Because the first part of the verse, Krishna is saying, api chet sudaracharo. Even if he commits an abominable action, then the next line seems to be a complete contradiction. Bhajate mam ananya bhak, and ananya bhak is translated without deviation. So, how could you say that no way to turn that off? So how can you say, in one breath you say, he's done something abominable. In the next breath you say, he's determined in bhakti. Doesn't make sense, does it? Well, we discussed that last night. That sometimes both of those things go on simultaneously. We do something abominable, and at the same time we're determined. So what does that mean? Well, it means I'm determined, and it means by accident I did something wrong. So let's read the translation. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. So this is accidentally. This is not a regular activity, because then it wouldn't make sense. If he's regularly fallen, then how can he be determined? He's determined, but sometimes by accident, he or she does something which is not considered proper, or not it's not considered proper, it's not proper. It may be very bad. Durachara, dur means bad, achara means to act, and su means really bad. So it can be something really bad. But this verse is so nice because Krishna is saying he's a sadhu, you should consider him a sadhu. And that means that's how Krishna considers him. And why does Krishna consider him a sadhu? Because samyak vivastito hisa. Because he's determined to be Krishna conscious. So that's what Krishna sees. Now, when we make some mistake, do something wrong, we tend to focus on what was wrong instead of focusing on the fact that, well, that was an accident. And at heart, I just want to be Krishna conscious. That's what Krishna is focusing on. Isn't that interesting? So Krishna is saying, okay, here's a devotee, he's done something wrong, but I consider him a saint, and you should consider him a saint as well. We should all consider him a sadhu. So if we should all consider himself a sadhu, then at least when we're in a similar situation, if we're determined to become Krishna conscious, as we said yesterday, that's what's most important. The accidental fall down, it doesn't have much effect. It's just like a spot on the moon. As long as the determination is there to be Krishna conscious, that's what's important. But if we allow the fall down or the sudurachara to destroy our determination, that would be a problem. That's the real problem. So what Krishna is saying is, look here's my devotee. He just wants to be Krishna conscious. He's determined to be Krishna conscious. That's what he wants. And if he does something accidentally wrong, he regrets it. It's not like he just rationalizes it. It's not like he doesn't notice it. It's not like it doesn't bother him. It does bother him. But his consciousness is fixed in becoming Krishna conscious. It's not focused on the fault. He's not lamenting the fault. Rather, he's thinking, Krishna, look what I've done, I'm sorry, but I'm determined to be Krishna conscious. So his focus is on his determination. That's the point. So let's read the purport and we can discuss that. And if you have any questions, then just write them. The word sudurachara used in this verse is very significant, and we should understand it properly. When a living entity is conditioned, he has two kinds of activities. One is conditional and one is constitutional. Constitutionally, I'm a servant of Krishna. Conditionally or temporarily, I'm bound by Maya. When I understand that I'm a devotee, I can engage in my constitutional position, but sometimes the conditioned position affects me, as we all know. As for protecting the body or abiding by the rules of society and state, certainly there are different activities even for the devotees in connection with the conditional life. And such activities are called conditional. Besides these, the living entity who is fully conscious of his spiritual nature is engaged in Krishna consciousness or devotional service. And these activities are called transcendental. Such activities are performed in his constitutional position, and they are technically called devotional service. Now, in the conditioned state, sometimes devotional service and the conditioned service in relation to the body will parallel one another. Sometimes, again, these activities become opposed to one another. What Prabhupada's defining conditional is here in this sense, not like a conditioned soul, but activities in relation to maintaining our physical, material existence. And he's saying sometimes that works with devotional service and sometimes it opposes devotional service. As far as possible, a devotee is very cautious so that he does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome condition. This is a very important point. As far as possible, a devotee does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome condition. In other words, a devotee is a bit on guard or self-protective, and he doesn't put himself in situations which could be detrimental for his bhakti, and he doesn't do anything which would disrupt his realizations of Krishna consciousness. He's basically careful to always be in a position where his Krishna consciousness will grow. So that's very, very important, because a lot of times we neglect our Krishna consciousness, or we in some way compromise our situation, and then our Krishna consciousness suffers. So let me read that again. As far as possible, a devotee is very cautious so that he does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome condition. Cautious also means conscious. So he's very conscious of what is helpful and what is not helpful. And he's very cautious not to put himself in a condition that would be detrimental, or not to do anything which would be detrimental, not to neglect his sadhana, and not to engage in activities which could harm his spiritual life. So you can say in that sense, devotee is very calculative. What must I do to protect my bhakti? What must I do to enhance my bhakti? What must I not do that could disturb my bhakti? He knows that perfection in his activities depends on his progressive realization of Krishna consciousness. So sometimes devotees ask this question. It's an interesting question. It's that sometimes I have these realizations. They're very strong and they're very clear, and then a week or two later I lose them. I don't remember them. I'm not acting on them, whereas a few weeks prior they were very strong in my consciousness. And what happened to those realizations, and why did they go? My understanding by experience is that when we're in a particular environment meaning association, sadhana, maybe sometimes in the holy dham, we're in an environment, particular environment, and because of the environment we're getting a certain level of strength that is producing those realizations. Like for example, we do japa retreats, and then devotees get very deep realizations about the holy name during the japa retreat. But they don't normally have realizations on that level, because the environment during the japa retreat was conducive to deeper realization. So here Prabhupada is saying, devotee doesn't do anything which would in any way disrupt his realization, because realization is like Krishna's gift to help you advance. And so if we don't have realization, we really can't carve our way through the jungle of Maya. It's those realizations that always help us carve that path. When the material world is settling in on us, it's those realizations that allow us to see what's the next step. So realizations are really important. And realizations are gifts from Krishna, and realizations come in proportion to how we execute our sadhana and service. And so when the execution is better or more serious, more strict, generally the realizations are more frequent and deeper. And we need those realizations. Those realizations are really our capital, our investment in bhakti. And so therefore Prabhupada says the devotee doesn't want to do anything which would impede those realizations. I'll read that again. He knows that perfection in his activities depends on his progressive realization of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, however, it may be seen that a person in Krishna consciousness commits some act which may be taken as most abominable abominable socially or politically. But such a temporary fall down does not disqualify him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that if a person falls down but is wholeheartedly engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord, being situated within his heart, purifies him and excuses him from that abomination. So, the point Prabhupada is making is that one's determination to be Krishna conscious is what is most essential. And that if that determination is there, then even one may do something socially unacceptable, sudurachara, it's not going to have a lot of effect on him. It's not going to really disrupt his bhakti, because his determination is too strong. And it's normal that one will be deviated, especially in a more neophyte stage. That's normal. But we see that if someone's serious about bhakti, then even if he has some accidental fall down or trouble, or he's deviated by his past conditioning, it doesn't permanently stop him, because the determination overrides the weakness. As we were discussing last night, the only problem would be is if that difficulty the devotee's having becomes a source of his depression, and then he gives up his determination. So, if you want to rest, you can go rest. If you're tired, it's fine. You go rest, but don't rest here. So this is really the critical understanding is, will our determination get affected by our conditioning? And if it does, that's going to be the cause of trouble in our spiritual life. But if we can maintain determination in spite of our conditioning, and that determination is so strong that no matter what happens, we continue to go, then we'll be successful. And that is explained in the next verse. But let's keep reading the purport. The material contamination is so strong that even a yogi fully engaged in the service of the Lord sometimes becomes ensnared. The Krishna consciousness is so strong that such an occasional fall down is at once rectified. So devotional service is purifying, right? Like sometimes a devotee may do something wrong, and then we might think, well, he's done something wrong, so we shouldn't allow him to do devotional service, or maybe we shouldn't allow him to come to the temple. But the problem with that, unless it's something specific where what he did was very, very bad or potentially harmful for others, the problem with that is he becomes purified by devotional service. So, if you prevent him from doing devotional service, you're preventing him from becoming purified. So, punishment, in Krishna consciousness, we don't really give value to punishment, but we give value to rectification. Okay, you've done something wrong, repent, don't go away, don't give up bhakti, but go into bhakti with more strength, more effort. That's your ultimate redemption. No one should deride a devotee for some accidental fall down from the ideal path. For as explained in the next verse, such occasional fall downs will be stopped in due course as soon as a devotee is completely situated in Krishna consciousness. So, I fall down, I get up, I continue, because by continuing, I become purified. By becoming purified, eventually I will stop falling down. I will stop having trouble. So the idea is you fall, you slip, accidentally, due to condition, you get up with determination and you continue. And by that process, eventually you overcome your conditioning. Therefore, a person who is situated in Krishna consciousness and is engaged with determination in the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, should be considered to be in the transcendental position, even if by chance or accident he is found to have fallen. So this is really interesting. And Prabhupada's saying he's in the transcendental position. What does that mean? Well, if he gets back up and continues devotional service is transcendental, so that means he's in the transcendental position. But normally, amongst devotees, if we were discussing this, we would say, well, if he's done something wrong or if he's fallen down, he's not transcendental. But Prabhupada's saying, if he gets back up and engages in devotional service, again, he's in the transcendental position. So the fall down is just kind of like a side point. It's a temporary problem, but the real thing is devotional service. So because that's where he always comes back to, that means he's transcendental, because he's situated in devotional service. Isn't that amazing? Okay, Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada. I hope my battery doesn't run out. I've got it plugged in, but the screen is the phone turned the screen down, which means it's worried about the battery. Therefore, a person, he's considered to be in the transcendental position, even if by chance or accident he's found to have fallen. The words Sadur Eva, quote, he is saintly, are very emphatic. Excuse me, I'll read that again. The words Sadur Eva, he is saintly, are very emphatic. Eva means certainly. They are a warning to the non-devotees, and I would say to devotees also, or those who call themselves devotees. They're warning to the non-devotees and those of us who call ourselves devotees that because of an accidental fall down, a devotee should not be derided. He should still be considered saintly, even if he has accidentally fallen down. So this is important. We don't want to condemn somebody. Their whole life they've done devotional service and they had one slip, and then we condemn them. That's Krishna saying, no. You have to see that this person is a devotee. This is what he does. But along the path, along the way, there was a problem. Now, he should not be derided. He should be considered saintly, even if he has accidentally fallen down. And the word mantavya is still more emphatic. Mantavya means, he should be considered. What does mantavya mean? Hold on. To be considered, he should be this is his position. If one does not follow this rule and derides a devotee for his accidental fall down, then one is disobeying the order of the Supreme Lord. The only qualification of a devotee is to be unflinchingly and exclusively engaged in devotional service. So what Prabhupada is saying here is that in the verse it says if a devotee accidentally falls, he should be considered saintly. But actually, what Prabhupada is explaining here is Krishna is saying, if you see a devotee like this, you must consider him saintly. It's my order. And if you don't, then you're breaking my order. You're going against my injunction. That's what is being said here. So Krishna is saying, I order you to see him as a sadhu. That's my order. It's not optional. This is not up for discussion. But if he commits some abominable action, socially unacceptable, but he's repentful and engaged in devotional service, he must be considered a sadhu, And that's my order. Isn't that interesting? I order you, and if you don't see him as a sadhu, you're breaking my order. In the Nrsimha Purana, the following statement is given. Bhagavati cha haravananya